Oh boy. This movie was almost a date night movie. Don't make this movie a date night movie. Neither party will want any intimacy after this thing. Believe me. Hi, welcome to Film Stash. My name is Douglas Campbell, and today we are going to be talking about 2024's The Substance. Elizabeth Sparkle, played by Demi Moore, renowned aerobics instructor, is fired on her 50th birthday. Amid her distress, she is offered a substance, which will transform her into an enhanced version of herself. You know, I was just thinking for this review, I probably should have bought, like, the pink aerobics outfit that Margaret Qualley was wearing in this movie. Probably not. That probably would have scared people off of this thing. No one wants to see this. I will say that this movie, it's one of the most fucked up original horror stories that I have seen in a while. This was like a full-length Black Mirror episode. I really dug it. I have to start this review off by saying that this movie, it is not for everyone. It is not. They go to some very extreme places. It's very awkward. It makes you uncomfortable. With what director Qualley brings to this film, I think that she largely succeeds in what she was trying to aim to do. This movie, it is an excellent satire on how society objectifies women and then completely ostracizes them once they even show any signs of aging. And we've seen this time and time again. And with a film that tackles these themes, it very easily could have been very preachy. I agree with the message, but it could have been easily annoyingly preachy. But with how Demi Moore's character Elizabeth is written and how Demi Moore performs it, it's very easy to sympathize with her and get on her side. You completely get that point of view almost immediately. What I really like about the movie is that it takes classic science fiction concepts of body swapping and how they modernize it to tell a satirical story of the female experience. I thought it was really fascinating. It kept me engaged really the whole way through. This film, it's insanely freaky, but it wouldn't have worked without the dynamic performances of Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley at the center of the film. And even off to the side, you have Dennis Quaid's really gross, over-the-top performance. It just really brings this whole film together. What I really find interesting about this movie is that it works in extremes. Extreme camera angles, extreme performances, extreme sexualization, and yes, extreme gore. To be a gore hound for a second, the body horror that is on display here, it appears mostly practical, and it is just gnarly to look at. It really shocks you. In fact, it was so extreme sometimes that I had a really hard time looking at the movie screen. It was that nasty. During the movie, Stephanie took a picture of me and Kylie watching this in like utter shock. Like it was so... Ow. But I feel that these extremes, they assist in the zaniness of the satire. It really makes it an enjoyable watch, even whenever there were various uncomfortable moments. And the best thing about this movie is that it works in two ways, really. If you want to go in looking to analyze the feminism themes that is being discussed, you can keep your brain on and watch it, and you'll have a great time. But you can also go into this movie turning your brain off, and you could just enjoy watching the extreme filmmaking and the gore, and you'll just be entertained by asking, what the fuck is this? Before we continue, I would just like to remind everyone to please, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and share this around with everybody. It will definitely help my video out in the algorithm, and I would greatly appreciate that. And now on to the mixed. Like, honestly, I didn't find much wrong with this movie. I was really impressed by what was on display here. If I had to bring up any form of complaint or something that could have maybe been improved on, and I've been going back and forth on this. This film, as I mentioned before, it's delightfully goofy, but also very uncomfortable. and extremely gory that towards the end, it just keeps going and going and going, and you think it's over, but it keeps going and going. And it's like, oh my god. Sometimes it's unnecessarily long. It is so extreme. It just goes for it. That I almost admire the unrestrained creativity that they had to just keep the gore fest going, to where after a while you almost get a little numbed to it. It's absolutely fucking bonkers, but honestly, I wouldn't have changed any of it. In the end, like what I've said before, this movie, it's not for everybody. Some people will walk in and just hate it, and I completely get that. But if you are up to being challenged by a movie every once in a while, I definitely would recommend The Substance. More importantly, if you do happen to find it, I know that theaters, they're kind of scarce at where they're showing it, but if you do happen to find The Substance, I'd recommend going with a group of friends and experience the shock altogether for yourselves. It is such a fun communal experience that even whenever the credits were rolling, we were relating to the people behind us who had the same reactions that we had. We all let out a cathartic laugh at what the hell we just saw. All right, so it's about midnight. I'm with Stephanie and Kylie. We just saw The Substance. We're probably gonna break up, me and Steph, after this. What'd you guys think?
Steph, I'm dying to hear what you thought. I'll give you a whole $1 to tell me.
It really explores, I think, like what women go through. God. It's great. It's great. It's definitely worth checking out. I would give it a 9 out of 10. So for this week's recommendation, I actually am going to recommend a film that came out a couple years ago. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it out there. Although not as extreme as The Substance, they do touch on a couple of the same themes about how society views women and aging. But it's put together in a nice little slasher film that homages the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm talking about Ty West's X. Or if you want to go further, you could watch Pearl, or you could watch Maxine. But I feel like X, it conveys these themes the best, which is why I'm recommending that if you like The Substance, you might like X. Well, that's all the time we have for today here at Film Stash. My name's Douglas Campbell, and if you excuse me, stay healthy. Bye.